For this tutorial, I'm going to look at ways in which we can improve building from trimmed edges. Because the problem with trimmed edges is that surfaces like this freeform blend, which are built from them, will often have too many CVs and isopalms. And while this might not necessarily be a problem, typically it will give us slight curvature deviations and continuity breaks. So we've got two different approaches we can take. And the first one I want to show you is to address the quality of this trimmed edge itself. So over here on Curve Edit, I can take a straightforward duplicate and just move that aside. And you can see how heavy it is, and we've got 10 spans here. So instead of that, we've got a tool called Fit Curve. And with this, we control the structure of the curve, so that I can click on that trimmed edge, but this time I get a degree 3 single span. And it shows me the deviation from the edge, which at the moment is too large. So I can try increasing the degree to get some more CVs, and this takes me from 0.27 deviation to 0.0048, which is much closer. But my other option is to reduce the length, and that gets us even closer here at 0.0016. I could try degree 7, and that's not quite there, so I'm going to need to reduce the length some more. And that's nearly there, and I'll just make sure I'm comfortably within the tolerance. And now the nice thing is that if I click on the remainder of the edge, it creates a new fit curve span that fits into the leftover space. So here we're still outside our tolerance, so it's looking like I'll need 3 separate portions to get the accuracy that I want. Now, because these are free curves and not connected to the surface, there's no point trying to use freeform blend. So I'm just going to use a simple skin and go from the fit curve to the wheel arch. And I've got both these set to default. So from the fit curve to there, and the fit curve to there. And this time I'll just use connect ends to line that up. So the surfaces are just flat at the moment, but I've got a nice light structure. So if I now want to blend those in, I can rebuild the surfaces to give them some extra CVs, so that they've got the ability to bend and blend into the side. And then I can just use the Align tool. And I'll just do G2 curvature for now. So I'll align the edge of my skin to the trimmed edge, and by default that's gone the full length. So this is where the partial option is useful. So I'll choose that, and then it stays in its original position. And then I'll do the next skin to the trimmed edge and the skin to the trimmed edge. And I've achieved curvature on all of those. Now obviously there's a bit more work to do, so I'd need to check the curvature continuity between the surfaces and use the middle mouse button to see where the problem is. And that one's actually okay. So here it's just a tiny bit outside tangency, so I could do some work on these CVs, probably using one of the transform CV modes to fix that. But I'll just delete those because the important thing to have shown you is the Fit Curve tool, which can apply to trimmed edges, scan data, and any curve that you want to improve. Now the second way that we can work is not to have a trimmed edge at all. So if I was to untrim that side surface, then I've currently got the curve on surface there. So I can use the construction history and just change that into being a curve, not a curve on surface. And I'm just doing that to allow myself to now build another skin surface between here and here. And I'll just have that as default and connect ends here. Now again, that's just given us a straight surface there. And you can see that it's hitting the interior of the side surface, not an edge. And I've got this old curve on surface here, but not here anymore. So what I'd use in this situation is an option on the Align tool. So instead of using the normal edge alignment, I'd use Project. So I choose the edge of the skin as I did before, but then instead of choosing another edge to align to, I choose the interior of the side surface. Now I haven't got enough CVs here, so I can increase that within the Align tool. And this approach takes a project direction from these vector options. So I could attach it to the surface in the Y direction, Or I could use the direction of a view, and I could change the view and then say refresh the vector to change that. But most often I use the normal direction, which just comes out at 90 degrees from the surface you're landing on. So you can see here that I have a no COS option. So by default it will create a curve on surface. So I'll just get rid of my locators, and then if I pick curve on surface, then you can see that it's now created that for me. And that means that I can now trim the surface to the clean edge of my skin surface. So instead of building from a trimmed edge, I'm trimming to a natural edge, which may require a bit more work, but it'll mean I end up with a cleaner structure to my NURB surfaces. So the two new tools I've shown you here are Fit Curve on the Curve Edit palette, and on the Object Align tool, the Project option to align to the interior of a surface. And if you want to learn more about the Curve Fit tool, there's an update video in the Resources section.